IELTS Speaking Questions Part 3 in 2020. Now, these are the latest questions that have just been introduced in January, and so we expect that they'll be in the test from January to April 2020 and probably throughout most of the year. So it's worthwhile to spend some time to get familiar with these questions and to prepare for them before you take your test. Now, I've also released some videos for part 1 and part 2 of the test, links below in the description. I'd also like to let you know that this video is going to focus on the questions and the model answers. If what you're after is something a bit different, for instance, if you want a general introduction to part 3, or you want to know how to deal with some of the different types of questions that occur in part 3, such as describing causes, problems, and solutions, have a look in the description below. I've got other videos dealing with this. This video is just going to concentrate on the questions and the model answers. Now, this will help you to prepare for your test. If you know what the questions are before you take your test, this is going to help. Also, looking at the model answers is going to give you some ideas, vocabulary, and structures for dealing with some of the different types of questions in part 3 of your test. Let's get stuck in now. I'm going to be asking the questions and my colleague Doug is going to be giving the answers. Let's talk more about families living together. What are the benefits of younger and older generations living together?
One of the main advantages that young and older family members residing in the same residence would be the splitting of expenses between the income-earning members, thus alleviating financial stress. Additionally, there is a wealth of knowledge that can be exchanged with elders, teaching the youth life skills they have acquired like crafts and recipes, and the youth perhaps assisting with technology like computers and smartphones. Another that comes to mind would be the sharing of household chores, for example, food preparation, laundry, and shopping. Although there are many more, the final benefit would be the strengthening of family relationships and comradeship.
What are the disadvantages of younger and older generations living together?
The drawbacks of different generations living together would begin with the lack of privacy. With so many people living under one roof, everyone would know your business. You would rarely be alone, and to have quiet times would be difficult. This would be tough on me as I value my relaxation and rest. Also, I would lose my feeling of independence and being in control of my life and surroundings.
Do people in your country prefer to get help from family members or friends?
Choosing to seek help from my family or friends would be dependent of what assistance I am seeking. For example, I wouldn't ask for financial assistance from a friend, as he would most likely be in a similar situation. I would not want to jeopardize my friendship with them worrying about if and when I could repay my debt. Family, however, would be my choice for help on my future, like continuing education or changing jobs, as they can give worthwhile advice based on their experience.
Is it important to visit family members often?
I share my belief that family is important and try to visit frequently. Today's busy lifestyle does restrict the number of times families can get together. Family can also be helpful with advice and be supportive. I always look forward to going to my village to meet up with friends and family during special events, like Chinese New Year, as I enjoy sharing meals and catching up on local news and rumors.
Let's talk more about people in the news. What kinds of people in your country are usually in the news?
Politicians are frequently in the news announcing new government policies and legislation. It is important for them to keep their constituents informed and help with possible re-election efforts. Actors, entertainers, and musicians are also in the news a lot, announcing new films, concerts, and promoting upcoming entertainment events. Sport management and players are also announcing future contests and commenting on past and future performance. They want to build fan loyalty and attendance at their games. The news occasionally will reveal a celebrity's personal accomplishments, issues, and transgressions.
Are stories about celebrities in the news always true?
Of course, not all news is true about celebrities and famous people. Newscasters will exaggerate celebrity news to boost audience viewership, and many reports are pure speculation. For example, we all love gossip, but just because someone is seen dining with another person doesn't mean they are in a serious relationship. Social media has a huge impact on the news and spreads many falsehoods, speculations, and gossip. I take most things I read with a grain of salt and will search for supporting articles for verification.
Why is the news often about famous people?
Every form of media, including TV, newspapers, tabloids, and magazines, pay a great deal of attention to the professional and personal lives of famous people. It seems the public cannot get enough of this kind of news. Of course, promoters want to keep their clients in the news to advertise upcoming events like movies, TV shows, and sporting events. I believe that the media has become intrusive and should present a balanced view in respect to celebrities.
Could superstars bring positive influences to the public?
I believe superstars can and do provide positive things for the public. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio is not only a very accomplished entertainer, but is also an outspoken supporter of environmental and animal issues, which educate the public. Many superstars share their fame and fortune with performing at charity events and making donations to worthwhile causes. Many youngsters have superstars as their role models, which encourages them to study the arts like acting and singing or excel at a sport.
Let's talk more about learning. What qualities do you think a good teacher should have?
The most important quality a teacher should have is good communication skills. Even though he might have a deep understanding of the subject, a teacher needs to effectively communicate that knowledge in an interesting and informative way. He or she should recognize when the class is having difficulties and provide a different approach and field questions from students. A good teacher will also make themselves available to provide individual help to students.
Do you think young people learn faster than old people?
It is accepted that children learn faster than adults. A youngster's brain has a natural ability to absorb information as part of their development. They are curious, creative, and experimental in arts, sports, and other activities early in life. Adults, on the other hand, have learned skills necessary in life and usually focus on their day-to-day activities and work. If an adult is removed from the education system for a while, they may have difficulties with planning and studying a new subject.
What do you think is the best age for children to go to school?
I believe children should start school at age 3 or 4, depending on the development. Rather than daycare, which is essentially a babysitting environment, a good preschool will help the child develop social skills and provide creativity with art and music. Additionally, preschool will develop a sense of pride, accomplishment, and self-confidence. These early developed skills will make the transition to kindergarten easier and less stressful.
Do people in your country prefer to study alone or in groups?
Although some prefer to study alone without interruptions, most students in China prefer to study as a group. Group studying provides the benefit of exchanging ideas and different explanations, which can make studying more interactive and less tedious. They also learn to interact with each other and have discussions and accept different views on a subject. Most importantly, in their future career, they will most likely be part of a team, and the group study experience will make the teamwork project easier.
Let's talk more about apologising. On what types of occasions do people usually apologise to others?
Often we have minor incidences like bumping into somebody or accidentally cutting in line, and a simple sorry is all that is necessary. Sometimes we commit minor things, for example, like being late for a meeting or forgetting to bring home groceries. We might say or do something that hurts someone you know, and a more sincere apology is appropriate. The worst situations are when our actions or inactions cause serious emotional or physical damage.
Do people in your country like to apologise?
People are human and we all make mistakes. From my observations, the Chinese culture encourages politeness and concern for all. Notwithstanding that we would prefer not to hurt or harm anyone, we are courteous and quick to apologize when the situation calls for it. So I would say we like to apologize.
Do you think people should apologise for anything wrong they do?
People cause harm to another, they should apologize, showing concern for their actions and providing sympathy for the harm they caused. As an example, I was recently hit from behind while it stopped at a traffic light. I fell off my motorbike and suffered some minor scrapes and bruises. The lady was concerned and quickly apologized, which I accepted.
Why do some people refuse to apologise to others?
People are reluctant to apologize because they are embarrassed and don't want to lose face. With more serious incidents, people will not apologize for fear of incriminating themselves and risking financial damages. Politicians are notorious not owning up to their mistakes and put a spin or an outright lie about their error to maintain voter support. Most people, however, are polite and accept responsibility for their actions.
Let's talk more about messages. Do you think traditional letters are a good way to send messages?
In my opinion, technology has taken over the postal service and written communication has decreased considerably. Today, in social media and messaging applications, communication is convenient and quick. Postcards are fewer too, as person can post a picture and description on the internet. Some written correspondence still happens for long and detailed information.
In what situations is it better to make a phone call than send a message to someone?
Many situations where a telephone call can be more effective than voice or text messaging. For example, you don't know if a recipient is listening for a message notices and you have an urgent message that needs a quick response, or you may need some immediate information to make a decision. Also, during a phone call, you can use intonation to express your feelings better. Lastly, I think a phone call is more personal and allows easier communication.
In your country, do people prefer to send email or text messages?
Where I live, people prefer to use texting as opposed to email, as mobile applications provides text notifications quickly. Also, email is mainly for longer and more detailed communication, and in most cases doesn't need an immediate reply. In my case, for example, I prefer to use my computer rather than my phone to weed through the numerous messages, advertisements, and spam.
Is technology having a negative impact on communication among people?
I believe that technology has indeed affected communications. As an example, before the internet, people would have to write letters which would contain more information as people had to pay for the service and wait for replies. In the past, written communication was more formal with proper grammar and pronunciation. Today's technology allows us to communicate quickly by texting and emailing. And quick replies usually means we usually have short messages and expect short replies.
Let's talk more about teams. What are some reasons why people join teams?
People prefer to play on a team for many reasons. Foremost, I think you have the comradeship of playing on a team environment as opposed to an individual sport. Team members will also help you with your training and development skills. You also have the team spirit and fellow players to share celebrations of wins and achievements individually and as a team. Playing on a team also gives you the opportunity to meet new people and form new friendships.
What causes disagreements within a team?
On a sport team, conflicts can arise between players and coaches. For example, players may not feel that they are being played enough or being recognized for their accomplishments. Criticism of other players will cause conflicts and disagreement, where one player may criticize another teammate who feels they have to defend themselves. Disagreement in other team groups, such as school study groups and workplace groups, have conflicts in regards to workload and contribution to the tasks.
Do you think it is good for children to join a team?
Will gain many positive advantages when participating in a team sport. It will teach them how to interact with other people and make new friends. Teamwork teaches learning to work with others and improve their individual and team skill. Teamwork can improve their self-confidence and develop pride in their individual and team accomplishments.
What skills do team leaders require in the workplace?
There are many qualities a good team leader should have. Communication is probably the most important attribute. It is very important for a leader to effectively convey duties and responsibilities. Time management is also an important part of a leader's job. Lastly, an effective manager should lead by example and be willing to pitch in and help others.
Let's talk more about travelling. How do people usually travel long distances in your country?
Nations outside the country are usually traveled by airplane because the airports in foreign countries are prepared for international travelers. Planes also provide long distance travel within a country. Alternately, trains and buses are less expensive, and although the trips may be longer, the seating usually is more comfortable and you have the advantage of enjoying the scenery during the trip.
In what ways can traffic conditions in a city be improved?
Traffic conditions in the city can be a nightmare at times, especially during rush hour. The flow of traffic can be improved with properly synced traffic lights and traffic lights to help direct traffic in busy intersection. Infrastructure such as overpasses and underpasses, although expensive, may help improve the flow of vehicles within the city.
Do you think people will still drive a car if public transportation is free?
Transit is relatively inexpensive as compared to owning and operating a motor vehicle at the moment. Providing free transportation may encourage some to use public transit as an alternate to driving. Many people, though, need their vehicles for more than just commuting. For work example, salespeople. Also, even if it was free, many people would prefer their own vehicle because it is comfortable and convenient.
How can transportation in rural areas of your country be improved?
Transportation in rural areas has its own problems, which need to be improved. Frequently, highways are in need of repair, and better engineering and maintenance would improve transportation. Public transportation, such as buses and trains, are improving, but more modern buses and faster trains would be beneficial for the traveling public.
Let's talk more about mobile phones. Is it necessary to have laws on the use of mobile phones?
It has been proven around the world that laws are necessary to prohibit the use of cell phones in different circumstances and places. The main danger of using smartphones while driving has distracted many drivers, causing accidents and fatalities. Regulations are already in place that cell phones cannot be used when an aircraft is taking off or landing. Another rule that would be beneficial is the restriction of using a telephone in quiet areas such as a theater.
Should young children have mobile phones?
I believe young children in primary school have no practical use for a cell or mobile phone. There does become a time, however, when they are more independent and participate in many after-school activities that they may need to contact their parents to arrange pickup times and transportation. There are phones specifically designed for this age group with tracking applications, so parents can know where their children are and they can provide simple functions like texting and calling.
Do people in your country prefer to use a computer or a mobile phone?
Most of the population in my country use smartphones as they are convenient, easy to carry, and have many features that a computer does not have, such as voice recording and video. Computers, however, are the technology of choice at home where children and adults can do homework, research, and enjoy multimedia with the convenience of a larger screen and keyboard.
Do you think mobile phones could totally replace computers in the future?
Technology has advanced so much in the past 20 years that it is hard to predict what might be available in the future. Will smartphones and mobile phones replace computer? It is a difficult question as there may be alternate technologies. That being said, I don't believe the smartphone will completely replace computers because computers have more power and storage space.
Let's talk more about the weather. Can the weather have any impact on people's daily activities?
Of course, weather can have different impacts on one's daily routines. For example, I bicycle to work, but during a rainstorm, take public transportation. If the weather is too hot, cold, or raining, people are less inclined to go to parks and green areas and likely would participate in indoor activities to relax and chill out like theaters and restaurants. Shopping habits could also change with outdoor markets losing business to shopping centers.
Why do people do different kinds of sports in different seasons?
Where I grew up, we had distinctive seasons where it would be hot in the summer and cold with snow in the winter. Naturally, the weather would play a part in the sports that we would participate in based on the season. During the summer, we would enjoy outdoor activities such as hiking, football, and other fair weather sports. During the winter, however, we would ski and snowboard indoors and play sports such as badminton and basketball.
What kind of weather do people in your country like most?
I would say most people in my country enjoy dry and warm weather. They can enjoy outdoor activities such as hiking, fishing, exploring, and sightseeing. You'll also see many people in the park playing badminton, exercising to music, or simply relaxing and enjoying the scenery. This type of weather is also beneficial for transportation options as many people will go sightseeing or visit their friends and family.
Is the weather in your country changing?
See in the news on a daily basis weather extremes and changes occurring around the world. My country is no exception. We seem to have less precipitation during the rainy season, and temperatures have become more extreme. Additionally, droughts and flooding in the rural areas have become more common. As human activity contributes to climate change, and what might be done to alleviate it are subjects of debate.
Let's talk more about local areas. What are some of the main problems in local areas?
The term local areas could apply to cities and countryside depending on where you live. The large cities suffer from air pollution, traffic congestion, and noise. Outside of the large cities, local areas would be in need of infrastructure improvements and features, including things like libraries, better roads and highways, and public transportation options. Rural areas could use more employment opportunities so the youth would not have to live in the big cities.
What are the best solutions to these problems?
I believe the number one issue in my country is air and water pollution. Studies have shown hundreds of thousands of people die prematurely and suffer from respiratory illnesses. Potable water is also becoming less available. It may seem simplistic, but I believe that encouraging high paying and clean industries away from the big cities and manufacturing centers would help with some of these issues. This would encourage young people not to move to the big cities, thereby reducing traffic stress and pollution.
Do people in your country like joining social groups in their community?
Human beings as a whole are social animals and interact with friends and neighbors in many different social activities. People in China like to socialize, and you'll see them in restaurants sharing meals and exchanging stories. Also, you will see many that are involved in sporting and exercise activities. For example, I love going to restaurants with my friends to relax and hang out. When I was in high school, I also joined the football team.
What are the benefits of living in a friendly community?
Having friendly neighbors in your community has many benefits. You are more likely to meet people whose company you enjoy and become friends. With friends, you may get invited to a special event such as a birthday party or wedding. Good neighbors are always respectful of your space and try not to disturb your peace and quiet.
Let's talk more about crowded places. Do people in your country like to go to crowded places?
I think most people would prefer less crowded places so they would have more personal space. However, many events and venues are very popular and attract a large audience, for example, music concerts. Other attractions such as historical sites, cultural buildings, and entertainment sites also can attract large audiences. Fortunately, where I live, there are some quiet and not crowded green spaces and parks to relax and enjoy the scenery.
How can the problem of traffic congestion be solved?
Traffic congestion within cities is an obvious problem, taking a lot of time for commuters to travel and creates air pollution. The obvious solution would be improved and inexpensive public transit to reduce the use of private automobiles. I also believe that encouraging high-paying and clean industries away from the big cities and manufacturing centers would help with some of these issues. This would encourage young people to not move to the big city, thereby reducing traffic stress and pollution.
Why do people still like to live in big cities?
Despite the drawbacks of living in a large city, which would include pollution, crowding, and higher expenses, many people prefer to live in the cities. Some are required for educational and working opportunities, and some people prefer the big cities, as they can provide shopping opportunities, entertainment venues, restaurants, and interesting places to visit and hang out.
Do you think cities will be even larger in the future?
Due to the world's increasing population, cities in the future are likely to be larger both in area and population density. This trend has been happening for many generations as cities provide better education and job opportunities. As urban areas become larger, cities will need to address issues such as pollution and congestion. They will have to invest in rapid public transportation, amenities like libraries and parks.
Let's talk more about challenges. Do you think parents should give kids challenges?
Challenges for children are important for their development, as it is an essential life skill. Learning how to cope with problems will help them both in their youth and as adults. Parents should be challenging their children with easy tasks at first and more difficult ones as they build their abilities and self-confidence. Parents should also be supportive and not overstress their kids.
What challenges do you think children might benefit from most?
Children will face many challenges as they grow up. Some will be everyday challenges like interacting with others, and some should be provided by their parents. Two challenges I feel parents should focus on with their children are health and management of money, as they are important skills for them to learn in the future. Encouraging and challenging them to exercise and participate in athletic activities would be beneficial. I also suggest parents provide an allowance for children so they can learn money management and prioritize spending.
What is the most challenging thing for adults?
We have many challenges, for example, time management and stress management. We live in a fast and demanding culture where work and social activities require a lot of time. Good time management skills will make life easier. Many adults also struggle with monetary issues, trying to budget and live within their means. These and many others can be very stressful, and reducing stress by exercising and taking time out to relax are important.
Do you think it's beneficial for senior citizens to have challenges?
As the expression goes, if you don't use it, you lose it. I think the challenges for senior citizens are keeping their bodies and their minds active and healthy. Both my parents do yoga as their indoor activity to keep fit and, weather permitting, enjoy going to the park to exercise to music with their friends. Keeping your mind active is also important, and my dad is an avid reader and my mom loves to knit. My dad also enjoys going to the park and playing chess with friends.
Let's talk more about skills. What skills are important for people these days?
We have many challenges that require considerable skills. For example, time management and money management. We live in a fast and demanding culture where work and social activities require a lot of time. Good time management skills will make life easier. Many adults also struggle with monetary issues, trying to budget and live within their means. These and many others can be very stressful, and stress management like exercise and taking some time out to relax are important.
What is the difference between skills required in the past and those at present?
I think things were easier in the past, and the necessary skills were not as demanding as they are today. With changing innovation and technology, Many more employment opportunities are available, which requires many different skills. For example, communication and interaction with colleagues is a skill that is necessary to succeed. Also, learning the more difficult technological and other skills like computer use can be demanding. In conclusion, I believe times were easier than they are today.
Do you think teamwork and communication skills are important?
I believe that communication and teamwork skills are essential to succeed in today's society. I learned in college that group study sessions were more effective than studying alone. I learned to listen, respect others, and consider their opinions, and also learned to negotiate and compromise. These skills I also use in my workplace, and they have been beneficial to me.
What kind of skills might become more important in the future?
It is difficult to predict what changes might occur and what appropriate skills will be necessary in the future. If I must speculate, in the future I foresee artificial intelligence and robotics being in great demand. I believe computer and robotic skills will be necessary, as those seem to be areas that are in their infant stage and are being researched and developed.
Let's talk more about uniforms. Do you think students should wear school uniforms?
I agree that uniforms should be compulsory attire when attending secondary school. They are practical and reduce the peer pressure in regards to clothes and fashion. Other advantages include not having to decide what to wear every day, which makes it easier to get ready in the mornings. Additionally, it is easy to recognize other students from your school, so you can hang out and socialize. It also encourages pride in your school.
What types of occupations should wear a uniform?
Many occupations require uniforms to make it easy for the public to identify. For example, police and emergency personnel wear uniforms that make it easy for people to seek assistance. Health providers like doctors and nurses are easily recognized by their uniforms, which are durable and easy to keep clean. Other uniforms, or maybe more descriptive dress codes, are common practice among professionals working for recognized companies. Many people can be seen wearing company jackets with suitable shirts and ties.
Should companies ask for employees' opinions about the design of uniforms?
Uniforms are important for public recognition and practicality. I believe management should consult with their employees about the uniforms that they desire. Employees have a better understanding of what uniform features and design would be best for the jobs that they are in. I also believe employees would have more pride and would take better care of uniforms that they helped design.
Do you think it is becoming more popular for people to wear uniforms?
Uniforms are compulsory in many occupations, for example, the military and police. Therefore, in those occupations, we would not gain any more popularity. However, I am of the opinion that people like to be identified with their professions and their companies, and uniforms fulfill that desire. Uniforms also remove the peer pressure in regards to fashion and are practical and durable. In conclusion, I feel that uniforms will become more common in the future.
Let's talk more about live performances. What's the difference between watching a performance live and watching it on TV?
When watching a performance on television, you are usually by yourself or perhaps with friends and family. The TV gives you the opportunity to adjust the volume and record for viewing in the future. Attending a live performance is an experience totally different in that you are sharing the entertainment with others in the audience. You can feel the audience's excitement and appreciation of the performance. You can also feel the sound and see the special effects that are not as prevalent when watching TV.
Do people in your country prefer live music concerts or live sports?
I believe people in my country prefer live sporting events rather than music concerts. Music concerts can be exciting and entertaining, but many people find them too crowded and noisy. Sporting events, however, are very popular as people can identify with the team and can cheer and interact with other spectators. Being part of a sport audience also allows you to get up and move around and perhaps have some food and drink during intermissions.
Should the government provide money to promote traditional performances?
I think it's important for people to embrace their heritage and culture. Therefore, performances would be very special and entertaining. People also like to get together and share experiences. As many of these performances would not necessarily happen if not organized by the government, providing financial support, I think, is important and necessary.
Do you think learning drama or dancing is helpful for children?
Children have many development difficulties, and I believe dancing and drama will address some of these problems. Many children are shy and do not like to be noticed. Therefore, to help them overcome shyness, performing would be very helpful. Also, these activities would help children work and interact with others. Lastly, I would mention that drama and music would also give children an appreciation of the arts, which they may pursue or enjoy when they get older.
Let's talk more about health. Do you think people in your country are generally healthy?
Overall, I would say the vast majority of people in my country are healthy. Physical activity and good dietary habits are promoted through advertising and having available areas for exercise, for example, parks and green spaces. However, there are many people that do not take care of themselves. Some bad habits including smoking, drinking in excess, eating fattening, and not exercising enough.
What can governments do to improve people's health?
Government should advertise healthy lifestyles to educate the population about the necessity of good health and what healthy habits, including nutrition and exercise, can provide. The government should also strictly enforce non-smoking regulations and sale of alcoholic beverages to minors. Another deterrent would be to implement taxes on unhealthy snacks and beverages to encourage better alternative foods.
What activities can schools organise for children to keep fit?
Healthy food and exercise are very important for a child's growing body. Schools should provide physical education and health classes to promote a good lifestyle. Schools can provide opportunities for children to exercise, such as sports days, team sports, hiking, and walking trips. For example, when I was in high school, we had a number of physical and running challenges that I competed in against fellow schoolmates.
Do you think people are healthier now than in the past?
I believe people were healthier in the past than they are today. In the past, work was usually more labor intensive. People would walk to many places, and food was more natural and not processed. Today, we consume a lot of manufactured and unhealthy food. In addition, air and water pollution has made our environment toxic, leading to many health issues.
Let's talk about pets. Do people in your country like taking care of pets?
People in my country enjoy providing for their pets. A pet needs a lot of attention, specialized food, and exercise. People enjoy being responsible for their pets, and animals can encourage their owner to get out of the house. For example, taking their dog for a walk. In return, a pet provides companionship entertainment, and a purpose in life.
Do you think it is safe for animals to live in cities?
Due to the number of animals in a city, life in the city can be dangerous for a pet, especially with traffic volumes and interactions with other animals. Unfortunately, I have seen many dogs and cats injured and killed in traffic. I have also witnessed many dog and cat fights resulting in cuts and bruises. Due to the density of animals within the city, they are also more susceptible to many diseases, including parvovirus and rabies.
What problems are caused by keeping pets?
Pets provide companionship and a sense of responsibility. However, keeping pets has its problems as well. Keeping a pet healthy and properly fed can be an expensive proposition, therefore, it brings a financial burden on its owner. Pets also need constant care and attention, which can be detrimental if you spend many hours away from them and want to go on holidays. You are more likely to outlive your pet as well, so you will have to deal with the grief when they die.
Is keeping pets becoming more popular?
I think pet keeping has become more popular in my country. Many of my friends and neighbors have pets, mainly cats and dogs. However, some do also have exotic animals like birds and reptiles. I find the more exotic animals very interesting and educational, as I will research their habits and requirements. Myself, I love animals and fondly remember my family dog, who was a constant companion and my protector.
Let's talk more about products. What kinds of products are most popular in your country?
Based on popularity in the agricultural area, rice is a major product of China, and being a staple, it is served with almost every meal. Almost everyone has technology at home or in hand, including computers and smartphones. China is noted for its technology, and domestic consumption and exports include computer parts and systems, in addition to smartphones. Other popular items in China would be Western products like fashion and food.
What kinds of products do young people think are useful, but old people may not?
Young people embrace the newest technology in computers and smartphones. Older people would not necessarily desire them, as they limit most of their communication with phone calls and texts. Therefore, older phones would be suitable. In China, Western influence have fashion, entertainment, and technologies that younger people will purchase, whereas the older population would not demand as much and save their money.
Are people in your country buying more products than in the past?
As we have become more affluent, we purchase and consume more products, especially luxury and imported items. For example, when new technology is available, frequently old technology is abandoned. We live in a consume and dispose society where many items could be repaired or gifted to others less fortunate. Statistically, we import much more products from abroad than we did years ago.
What problems is consumerism causing nowadays?
Consumerism has put a great deal of stress on our environment, land, and water resources. Industrial waste and development has left many ocean areas depleted of fish, and we have encroached on the wildlife habitat. With increased industrialization to meet consumer demand, pollution has become critical in cities and industrial areas, affecting people's health and comfort.
Let's talk more about jobs. What kind of jobs do young people like doing in your country?
There are many different types of jobs that young people enjoy based on their education and experience. Many students major in computer science technology and would prefer a job as an IT or computer specialist. Some other popular professions are in the health industry, where students have been trained to be nurses, doctors, and health professionals. Other popular professions would be in business as managers, supervisors, and marketing executives.
Do people in your country prefer physical work or mental work?
I think most young people would prefer to work with their minds rather than their bodies. Office and managerial positions would be most suitable for many graduates. Some people, however, do not have the desire to spend years in university and would prefer to start work earning a living. Although there are exceptions, most of these jobs are more labor intensive.
What factors should people take into consideration when choosing jobs?
When choosing a job, people should take into consideration how much education, time, and effort the prerequisites required to qualify for an occupation. The big factor I believe people should consider is, will they enjoy and excel at the profession they are choosing? It is difficult to be effective and motivated in an environment or job you dislike. Income and experience would also factor into choosing an occupation.
Do people in your country like to work in other countries?
Many Chinese people need to work in the cities, where commuting is difficult and hours of work are long. Additionally, cities are very congested and have high levels of pollution, which can be detrimental to a person's health. I know many Chinese people that are working very hard on their English skills to be accepted at a foreign university or obtain employment overseas. They are looking forward to shorter working hours and an opportunity to send money home to their families.
Let's talk more about companies. What types of companies are most common in your country?
There are many popular businesses where I live. In the cities, the service industry has created many entertainment businesses, serving a large population such as clubs, drinking establishments, restaurants, and entertainment venues. Also, many service businesses are clinics, salons, fitness centers, and retail stores. Serving the many tourists that visits provides popular business opportunities which include transportation and tour guiding as an example.
What are the important factors in making a company successful?
Successful businesses identify and fulfill the demand for a product or service that they are providing. They will also provide a desirable work environment with competitive wages to attract qualified and competent employees. Successful businesses will also have good managers and supervisors to motivate employees.
What kinds of qualities should a successful businessman have?
There are many qualities a businessman should have. Communication is probably the most important attribute for a businessman to work effectively with colleagues and staff, and he should be receptive to feedback and suggestions. Next, I would say time management is very important to complete required duties and transactions without procrastinating. Lastly, an effective businessman should be a leader, leading by example and willing to pitch in and help others.
What kinds of new businesses are emerging in your country?
There are several new business trends that are emerging. I believe more focus will be on internet purchasing and marketing of hard goods and services. I also see, as technology is becoming more sophisticated, development in artificial intelligence and robotics will become more prevalent. Other rising business opportunities are health and fitness related because the population has become more informed and desires to develop a healthier lifestyle.
Let's talk more about homes. Do people in your country prefer to live in a house or an apartment?
Which accommodation or home people in my country would prefer to live in would be dependent on if they are in a rural or urban area and what financial resources they have to purchase it. I believe most people living in smaller communities would prefer to have a freestanding house with some land to grow flowers and vegetables. For city residents, their home would likely be apartments or townhouses with easy maintenance close to where they work.
Is the cost of housing rising in your country?
Relative to people's income, housing and accommodation prices have risen considerably in the last couple of decades. In the past, a couple could afford to finance and purchase a modest home, whereas today people need to save and perhaps borrow from family to purchase the same or similar property. Apartments and condos are more affordable, especially in high-density areas within cities.
Why do many people like to live in cities?
Despite the drawbacks of living in a large city, which would include pollution, crowding, and higher expenses, many people prefer to live in the cities. Some are required for educational and working opportunities, and some people prefer the big cities as they can provide shopping opportunities, entertainment venues, restaurants, and interesting places to visit and hang out.
Do you think living in the countryside will be more popular in the future?
I believe people's desires to live in the countryside are prevalent now and will increase in the future. The main deterrents from living within a city are costs, pollution, congestion, and noise, which makes country living more attractive. Other features of country living include parks and green spaces, which are an incentive to live in rural areas. I believe also that businesses, such as research and technology development, will recognize that there are many advantages to locating their businesses in less expensive and desirable areas.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget that I've also got videos for part 1 and part 2 of your test, and also subscribe to me so that you can get updates of new videos as I release them.